the At Lunch With podcast. I'm sat here with Kayleigh Bradshaw from the Brighter Diaries. Welcome.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming along. So I tend to start these all in the same place, and I ask you, what was your first ever job?
Okay.
Your first ever one that you did?
First ever job?
Yeah.
I was actually a cleaner.
A cleaner?
I was like age 14.
Yeah.
Wanted some extra money.
You started young then, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I've always been a grafter. Yeah.
Good.
Definitely. Yeah. No, I was about 14, and I'm from York originally. So I was in York, and I don't know if you know the area Cotmanthorpe.
No, I used to live in York when I was younger. Was it Acomb?
Yeah, Acomb. Yeah, that was a bit of a rough area. That.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was horrible. It was really,
yeah,
really
so
bad.
we lived in Acomb, and I was just going to say cleaning in Cotmanthorpe was classed as a really posh job.
Was it?
Yeah, so I used to make about £100 a day cleaning, and that was
Really?
a lot of money. Like, what was that, like 15 years
that's
ago?
not bad, is it?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I had
That's
some
not
good
bad at
savings
all.
at 14.
Yeah, rolling in it, going shopping whenever you want, buying
Exactly.
whatever you
Yeah.
want. So obviously starting work young, I tend to find people who start work young have a bit more like ambition and stuff. It's not to say that people who start work late don't,
Yeah.
but what sort of drove you to start work so young? Just
I
you
don't
wanted a bit
know.
more?
Yeah, I guess growing up, my parents was always quite generous growing up, so
Yeah.
we was a little bit spoiled. But I've got an older brother and sister as well. So as they got a little bit older and they started getting jobs, my mum and dad was a bit like, well, she can get a job then if they have. And I was like, hang on a minute, like they've had it till they was about 18. I've still got 4 years here, but I don't know. I've always been quite independent, so I kind of wanted that independency. I had a lot of ambitions and dreams already when I was like a teenager. And I absolutely hated school. So I thought, if I get a job and make some money, I won't need to go to school.
Nice.
That was my plan then.
Did you do any further school or?
I didn't do a lot. I'm not gonna.
16, get out. That's it.
No, well, to be honest with you, I left school a bit earlier.
Yeah.
I had a tough time as a teenager.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of friends, things like that, but I absolutely hated school, hated everything about it.
Yeah.
Never wanted to be there. So I did anything I could to avoid going to school, but I always kept that cleaning job. I always made sure I went to that cleaning job. So I guess for my parents and teachers, it was always like, well, what does she want then? Like, she won't come to school, but she'll go to work. So left
a
early.
balance, isn't it? That's what you want. School's not for everyone.
It's not. And I used to say this, I was actually having this conversation with somebody the other night at one of my sessions, and I wouldn't ever turn around and tell a parent or a child now not to school your child or not to go, because I do think you need it for some things. I struggle getting a job later in life because I actually have no GCSEs.
Right.
Why
is that important?
Well, this is it. Some jobs, what I like to say, the box ticking jobs.
Yeah.
That's all it is. On a piece of paper, you need to have these things. But when you actually meet people, there's a lot more to education and knowledge than what's on a piece of paper and what you scored.
100%. I think, GCSEs and stuff, it's obviously there is a point in it, but not everyone, I can't remember who it was that said the quote. I think it's like you can't judge all animals on the way that a frog can climb a tree or something, something stupid like that. Like, not everyone's the same.
No, of course not. No.
So I think that, we're going to grade you on your maths, your science and all that. I'm terrible at that.
Well, this is it. I mean, I remember when I started work a bit later on in life, some of the jobs I was doing, I was thinking, well, I've never ever learnt about this in life, in school, and that's one thing that gets me as well. Your life skills, you never learn that in school. The things that I believe you need to know to be the best person you can be, I don't think you learn that at school.
No, finances.
Yeah.
How to apply for a mortgage.
Yeah, life skills, like things like that. And I think like mental health, physical health, all that, socialising. You don't learn that at school. You get put in a classroom, you get told what to do, and then you get put outside in the playground with everyone.
Can I get your order, guys?
Of course you can. Yeah. Do you want to order
Yeah,
first?
can I get the avocado toast, please?
It's a great shout, that. And then I'm going to be a little bit naughty. I'm going to have a cheeseburger.
That's fine, mate.
Thank you. It's not as naughty though, is it? Because the calories aren't as
I was
much.
going to say, do you can upgrade it? Like
No.
fries or anything like that? No.
No, I'll just have that.
Just have that.
I'm trying to be good, but
Trying
then
to be good. I can't convince you, can I?
no, I looked at the calories.
I
and
was going to
thought,
say, we've been
it's not
looking at the
bad.
calories on there, so.
No, actually, a chicken salad. Can I change it to a chicken salad? That's a better choice, isn't it?
Right.
I'll go chicken salad.
You get your 5 a day there, so.
Yeah.
Anything
Somewhere.
else, or
No, that's all. Do you want another drink?
Yeah, no, I'm okay at the moment, thank you.
do you have any allergies, guys, that we need to be aware about?
No, none
allergies
for me.
Nothing. And is everything all right with the equipment? Is it not too loud or
No,
anything?
all perfect.
All
Thank
good.
you.
Fantastic, no problem. Just give us a shout if you need anything else.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Thank you. Cheers. looking forward to
I
that.
know,
Good.
lovely.
Where were we? School. Not schools.
No life skills.
Yeah. No
Pretty
life
much.
skills. No memory, apparently.
Yeah.
So do you think schools are changing their way and they'll start talking about mental health, or do you think it's just
Yeah,
going to be...
I think so.
Yeah.
I think since, from what I've been reading, I do a lot of research, obviously, with being in wellbeing, and since the pandemic especially, I think that's brought a lot of talk out of most people.
Yeah.
I know I was reading the other day that apparently some kids are struggling to even socialise now after being in lockdown for so long.
Yeah. I mean, you think, like some ages, they haven't socialised with anyone.
No, not at all.
Or secondary school. I mean, if you were supposed to be going to secondary school then, you haven't socialised with
No.
any of the new people that you know.
Exactly.
Maybe on Teams, but...
It's, and I
That's
hate
crap.
that. I don't know if you do many Teams
No, I
meetings,
can't
but
stand it.
it does me head in. I can't, I hate it.
It's not the same. I mean, I personally think that sort of one-on-one interacting with people is so much better.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
No, I mean, if a
100%.
lockdown happened and I had to do this podcast, I wouldn't do it over Teams because I just...
You don't get that same interaction, do you? There's just not, and it's hard to read the room as well. I think a lot of the meetings I do, I'm usually presenting myself and talking about a particular service. So if I've got to do that over Teams, if I'm in a room, I can look at people and you can tell, am I losing them a bit? Do I need to be a bit funnier, a bit louder? But you can't work that out, can you? When
you can't.
with a computer screen,
Especially
you just,
if they turn the camera off as well.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm a bugger for doing that though. I'm not gonna lie.
Are they going to make it a cuppa?
Yeah, well, I'm usually either that or I've got a really annoying cat at home. So
Right.
if I have to work from home, there's usually this big white furry cat that comes in and he just sits there in front of the screen staring at everyone.
So
And
it's probably the best that
it's probably
take
best
it
that.
off.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. So what were you doing before you started the Brighter Diaries?
So I actually went from cleaning into barbering.
Nice.
Barbering was kind of option B. So when I came out of cleaning, I was already out of school, didn't get any GCSEs, and there used to be a place in York called Connections. I don't know if you've ever heard of Connections.
Yeah, is that like a school?
It's like a citizen's advice purely for young people that want to get into work. And obviously, I mean, I was a little bit naughty at school, obviously rebelling against something I didn't want to do. The cleaning job, she actually packed up the business and moved abroad. Not
nice
surprised,
for her.
£100 a day, who ain't gonna?
Yeah.
She was obviously on double me, so she went and did one,
Having a great time.
which was great, but great for her, bad for me.
Yeah.
So it meant that I had to get a job, which was fine. I wanted to work, but this point, I didn't want to just be cleaning people's baths for the rest of my life. I was quite good at it, I'm not going to lie, but I didn't want to just keep doing it. So for me, I was like, right, what's next? Went into Connections, and this story I've written about loads of times. I tell loads of people about it through the Brighter Diaries. I walked into Connections. She was like, where's your CV? So I said, well, I don't have one.
Yeah.
And she was like, how old are you? I said, I'm 16. Why haven't you got a CV? Why aren't you at college? Why aren't you doing this? And I was like, because I don't want to.
Where's the help?
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to do any of that. Well, what are you going to do with your life? So I said, well, this is the thing. So I want to help people. This woman, honestly, just laughed straight in my face and was like, I think you need to help yourself first, love.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. And that is why now I hate the word love. If someone calls me love, I hate it. It's just a trigger
make sure
for
I
me. Yeah, I know.
I'll cut that out. Sorry, love.
So yeah,
I
it
can't
was.
believe she did that.
Yeah, she did.
And that's a place to advise
Yeah.
younger
But
kids.
do you know, I think that's where when I said I struggled in school, a lot of it was with my mental health. I
Yeah.
didn't realise at the time that's what it was.
Yeah.
I always felt like there was something wrong with me, but I
Do you
didn't
think
know
that's
what.
because it wasn't talked about? That you
I
didn't
think,
understand it?
massively. I didn't know what anxiety or mental health was till I was about 22.
Right.
And I'd already suffered with it for a very long time, but I actually thought I was physically unwell rather than mentally.
Right, okay.
This woman saying that just sent another trigger, because in school the teachers kept saying you'll never amount to nothing, you'll never be nothing.
Yeah.
So getting told that from another person outside of school, it was
horrible.
heartbreaking. Yeah.
How old were you when?
I was 16,
Yeah.
so I went down a really bad path there. I'm not going to lie. I got into partying every weekend, going out, probably wrong crowds,
Yeah.
and I kind of fell into barbering because I knew a couple of people in the business.
Yeah.
I was just like, will you train me up? So I actually went off to college, and I managed to get into, it was like almost a college for naughty children. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
One of
okay.
those places.
You
that-
fit right in.
Yeah, I
Of
told
course,
me,
yeah.
I know, it's great. There was all naughty there as well,
Yeah.
so we had a right little team going on. But no, so you didn't need any actual qualifications or GCSEs. You had to sit a maths and English exam.
Right.
And do you know what? Considering I'd not been to school for 2 years, I absolutely smashed it.
Really?
And I was like, I'm actually quite clever.
Did
so
that
yeah.
surprise you a little bit? Were you
It
a bit-
did.
Yeah.
I was really nervous. It was, do you know, when I was younger, I always used to portray myself as this big, loud, bubbly character because that's how everyone knew Kayleigh. So I remember walking into that exam, and you can imagine the college for naughty kids wasn't exactly the nicest place. It was really dark and drowned. It was just an horrible place. So we went in, and there was all these other kids sat there, and they're all pushing the pens, and I'm thinking, bloody hell, how do they know? Because I was thinking they aren't going to know either.
Yeah.
And I remember opening it, and honestly, my heart could have come out of my chest. Again, probably a panic attack, but at the time didn't know. And I actually nearly passed out in the first exam and had to leave. And again, panic attack, but didn't know at the time. So again, there's me thinking there's something wrong with me. I actually ended up getting put in a separate room the week after to do these exams.
Was that because they'd assessed how you were reacting in
Just because they thought, well, everyone had already done theirs as well.
Yeah.
And I got really upset after this little episode, and I said I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to go to college. But the college tutor, she took a really big liking to me, and she was like, look, just do it. You're quite creative. You're really well spoken. You'd get on with clients. So I ended up passing them both, like 80% on both.
Wow.
Which in 100, but who cares? It was still 80. It's still a big pass.
Pass.
Yeah.
But also, I think that lady sort of guiding you and saying, come on, like, you can do this.
Do you know what that is? That's just one person believing in you. And you know,
that's changed the course of...
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, maybe going back then, you didn't do that, it might not have led to where you are now. I know, obviously, it's the whole butterfly effect one thing,
but no, I do what you've said there. I love that, because that's one thing that I teach now, that absolutely everything in your past has got you to where you are now. So I don't regret any of it. So I did used to...
You can't, can you?
No, exactly. I did used to wish there was a lot I could change, so I could have had this really successful 10 years of my life before the Brighter Diaries, but who cares, because I love who I am now and I love the Brighter Diaries.
Exactly.
So
it's
worked.
all a lesson, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like nothing's really a failure, it's just...
You've just got to learn from it, that's all it is.
Of course. That's good. So, what led you to... Obviously, you're a barber.
I was a barber.
How long for?
Quite a while. About 5-6 years.
Wow. Where was that? In Leeds?
So it started off in York. The salon I actually started off in York isn't there anymore. It closed down not long after I left. But
because they couldn't get any people in because you were that good.
Obviously, you know, when I left, there was like, well, Kayleigh's gone, so, you know, we may as well just shut the whole thing down now.
Shut it down.
Barbering was a really weird time in my life, to be honest.
Yeah.
I loved it because I knew I was helping people, even just giving a guy a skin fade and him like seeing himself in the mirror like, oh, I'm ready for the weekend.
Honestly, there's nothing better.
I know, and
I feel bad because I haven't had a cut. And honestly, talking about maybe mental health and stuff, I sometimes feel like it really helps me feel better about myself.
Do you know, it does, doesn't it? It's that thing, it's if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you feel like you look good. So it is that placebo effect, 100%. But I actually, I don't know, it was a weird one because I'd still not dealt with what was underneath me. And I still always felt like every day I was constantly putting a front on. And I didn't know why.
Like waking up, putting that mask on, going out.
100%. I had to, honestly, even my first year in barbering, I loved it, and I'd put, as everyone does, you'd use Instagram to advertise your haircuts, and everyone would be like, wow, we'll go to Kayleigh for a skin fade. I'm not saying I was absolutely amazing, but I did get a lot of clientele through that. And then, honestly, every morning I was waking up, I was literally waking up crying, panic attack. Didn't know what it was at the time. I used to literally sit on my bed crying my eyes out. My mum and dad would come in the room. I lived with them at the time. They was amazing. My dad would be like, my dad is just a typical bloke. He'd be like, well, what's upset you? I'm like, I don't know,
Who
Dad.
is he? Let me out.
every time. And I'd be like, Dad, honestly, I don't know. I just don't feel right. Well, you must know what it is. But again, my dad's era knows nothing about it. My mum, on the other hand, mental health nurse. So my mum, so she always knew, and she was like, what's wrong with you? Like, can you put your finger on it? What's wrong? I just don't want to go to work. And she's like, but when you're there, you're fine. But it took that much energy out of me and drained me because I was pretending to be fine. But then on the other side of that, I met most of my long-term friends now through barbering. I've even met, like, some of the clients turned into friends over time. And, you know, one thing I realised in barbering, them conversations you have every 4 to 6 weeks, they're really full on, they're really
4 to
deep.
6 are not coming enough, are they? Should be every 10 days, really.
I know, we're talking 5 years ago. Skin fade only came out a few years ago.
But I always think as well, going into a barbershop, there's nothing quite like it. It's just nice to sort of sit down, have a chat, get things off your chest, have a bit of a laugh, and obviously you leave looking better feeling better. 'Cause you
Yeah,
managed to
because
speak
you've
about
got it.
stuff.
Yeah, well, that's how the journey started with the Brighter Diaries. I started chatting to people all the time. Some people, God, I've helped people break up with the partners. I've helped people propose to the partners. I've helped people pick out Christmas presents. I've really helped men do a lot of things, and it's never been as a woman. Sometimes it can be that there's always a line, isn't there, when you're providing any kind of service like barbering to men, and that's not me being sexist, but there is.
True.
And I've never had that kind of experience. It's always just been advice from me, and sometimes advice from them. Some people in the salons over the years that if they've been a bit older, I've had like a salon dad before. He used to come in every 2 weeks, and I'd be like, oh, this is happening, that's happening. And this was when I lived in Leeds at the time, so I was away from my family, and I was here on my own as well when I first came.
When did you move to Leeds?
So that was the first time, would have been about 5 years ago. I moved over for work, to be honest. York were getting a bit dead for barbering. It's only a small city, so I came to Leeds. I used to work in City Gent on Ball Lane. That's actually closed. That's closed as well. I tell you, they all close when I go.
I know, as soon as you go. I'm trying to think of which one that is. I don't know if I've been in there.
You might have been. I've
been into most barbershops in Leeds.
It had been there 20 years.
Right,
so I'd be surprised. Everyone, you can ask most barbers in Leeds. Most barbers started at City Gent. It was just a good place, right in the city centre, right from train station. You were fully booked.
Whereabouts is that?
You know where? So the opening to Trinity on Ball Lane. The steps. It's literally opposite there. In fact, it's in front of Marriott Hotel. So when you go down that little side street to Marriott. It's literally there on corner. So massive. I think it's about 2 shops put together. It's massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. So that that was really good. But again, it was just. Now I know that I was kind of just existing rather than living. It was, you weren't good money as a barber because you were self-employed, and if you were fully booked like Leeds City Centre, you was earning a lot of money. But then I just used to go out and drink it every weekend. And then I'd get to...
Do you think that's maybe like a balance of your mental health as well?
100%, yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I remember when I realised about my mental health is I was actually blow drying someone's hair one day. And it was actually a woman. So there's this woman, I've known her for years. She's like 80 years old now. She's still one of my best friends, kid you not.
That's good.
I was blow drying her hair. I'd done her hair since an apprentice to practice on. We kept in touch. She came to me for weekly blow dries, no matter where I worked, whether it was a barber shop or whatever. Wow. She's great. She's honestly like me nan. And I was blow drying her hair one day, and she said to me, she was like, "You don't look all right. There's something not quite right with you. What's up?" And I just burst into tears in the middle of the salon, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I just keep waking up and feeling like this. As I said that, the hairdryer just went out of my hand, and next thing you know, I was on the floor. And I thought I was having a heart attack. And I remember saying to her, I told you, I knew there was something wrong. I knew there was something physically wrong with me. She basically...
Oh, hello.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, lovely, thank you.
Chicken salad?
Yeah, that's for me.
That's amazing. Oh, lovely, thank you.
That's great.
Can I get you anything else?
No, that should
I'm
be
okay
right.
a minute, thank you.
Thank you. Well, we'll cut that there.
Cut that there,
Yeah, we'll remember about the lady. We'll talk about her when we get back.
We'll go back to Maggie.
And we'll have a little bit of food. So, welcome back. How was lunch?
Thank you. It was lovely, thank you.
Yeah, it was all right, wasn't it?
It was lovely, yeah. How did you find yours?
Yeah, too much.
Too much.
A salad was too much. I don't know how.
The size of those chicken breasts on there, though, they weren't missing about.
No, it was massive. So before we obviously had the lovely lunch, we were talking about your friend Maggie.
Maggie, yeah.
Obviously, you're in there doing a blow dry. She noticed that something was wrong.
Yeah.
If you take it from there again.
Yep. So like I say, she'd been asking me quite a few times prior to that appointment as well, are you all right?
Yeah.
And for me, that's a trigger, always has been, but never realised. If someone asks me if I'm all right, that makes me ask myself if I'm all right.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 back then I wasn't. So she asked me this, and as I say, she said to me she wasn't taking yes for an answer. She said, something's not right.
Yeah.
You've not been yourself. You don't look well. You don't seem well. At that, the hairdryer went straight out of my hand, fell to the floor, and I honestly thought I was having a heart attack. All I kept saying was, I told you, I knew it. But I got back up, and I remember her sitting me on a chair, and I just remember everything being a bit blurred, and I didn't really know, I couldn't exit it. The only way to explain it, it was like a out of body experience.
Right.
And so rather than calling an ambulance, because that would have panicked me too much, Maggie being Maggie, she actually went and got me 10 Lambert and Butler and, and a pack
This'll calm you down.
This is it, yeah, and get this, bottle of Lucozade. So
Really?
she got me that as well.
Did that help?
No, it sent my anxiety through the roof because I didn't, well,
energy and stuff.
course.
Is that the wrong thing to do?
No, well, I'd say so. You
so
need
like
to
having
be
a can of Red Bull if you're in that sort of state, it's
because,
going to mess with your heart.
I mean, everyone's
Right.
different, but usually anxiety, a panic attack is usually heart palpitations.
Yeah.
So anything to encourage that is obviously going to make it worse.
So is that what it was? Panic?
It was, yeah. So my good old dad came and picked me up from the salon, took me straight to hospital. He was explaining to the doctor, he's again typical bloke. He's like, well, she's been crying for ages. I don't know what's wrong with her. She don't know what's wrong with her. I remember just being sat on this chair thinking, well, everyone just shut up. My head felt like it was going to burst. Oh, it was horrendous. Doctor came in for a chat with me. I burst into tears and I was like, I knew it. I've got heart problems. I've got this wrong with me. I've got this. I've got that. And
so you still at this point didn't know what it
massively
was?
in denial.
Yeah.
Massively. I honestly thought it was physical health problems.
Yeah.
I remember this doctor handing me a leaflet that said about mental health and counselling and therapists and even like not a mental health home but like a rehabilitation centre, I guess it was back then, like for a bit of time out and like depression, anxiety. He reeled it off. He asked me when was the last time I'd eaten and how often do you drink water, what do you know. Actually, when I thought about it, I probably did have a bit of an eating disorder because I was that stressed out of myself that I could go days without eating. I would actually just drink Lucozade, hence why Maggie got me the Lucozade. And I'd always fuel myself with alcohol on a night time. I wouldn't say I was I was able to work. I wasn't like an alcoholic and I wasn't noticeably unwell, I guess. Most people close to me probably noticed it, but it was that day then in hospital that everything just felt like it had come crashing down for me. I'd never ever cried as much as what I did that day. My poor dad didn't know what to do because back in his day they'd never even spoke about mental health. So we was in car home and he was like, I don't know what to do with you. And I just kept saying...
I think it's hard as well when, if you're with someone in that circumstance. It's really hard to know what to do.
Of course,
Because saying to them, you'll be okay, it's fine.
Yeah, you don't know.
It doesn't necessarily help them at that point.
Exactly, that's it. And I think the scary thing is I'm about 20 at this point. So this is 9 years ago now. And I didn't even know what the word anxiety meant. I had absolutely I'd never heard it before in my life. And from that day on, I did a bit of research as you do. You get told not to Google things, but you do.
Yeah.
I went over,
you literally have 30 seconds to live. Shit. Yeah.
So I've gone home, I've Googled it naturally. And honestly, my world's come crashing down. From that day on, I didn't get out of bed for about 8 months. If I did, it was to go to the toilet, maybe have a bath the odd time.
Did you understand what was wrong with you at that point?
Well, so when I was 20, 9 years ago, if you had mental health, you was in a straitjacket getting shipped away. That's what, to me, mental health was. It wasn't, just not taking care of yourself or poor well-being or, changing your mindset. These things that I teach now, that was never a thing. Like, I never knew about it. I actually got put on some antidepressants and within 3 days felt suicidal, didn't want to be here. That was actually due to the antidepressants. It was nothing to do. Up until then, I'd not ever felt like I didn't want to be here. I just always felt like I wanted to be a different version of me. That's all I remember from them struggling late teen years, is that I wanted to be someone, and I felt like I needed to grow outside of this shell, but it wouldn't allow me. And that's the only way I can explain it to you. So like I say, I stayed in bed for about 8 months and was on this medication, and really the random way of finding out that I didn't want to be on antidepressants was, I remember the doctors would ring like every 3 or 4 days because it was quite serious at this point. Like, they said to me, you have to take these pills or you are going to become very unwell. I don't even know what it could have led to, but it wasn't good.
But they were sort of pushing you towards.
Yeah. And tablets might work for some people. I take the holistic approach now.
I think there's also different varieties of different tablets as well. So them just being like, this is it, you have to have
and
this
do you
one.
know what? It's an
Not
absolute
thinking, let's work out what works for you.
Well, there's none of that. It's an absolute. I mean, I'm no doctor or GP, but it is a gamble with your tablets. You have to try which one, and they usually make you worse before they make you better. So you can be taking one dose for a week or two, and then actually find out in a week or two, no, these make me feel like I want to kill myself. But you can't just stop them because it's already, when you take antidepressants, it's rebalancing chemicals in your brain, and that's the problem, because to get back to that balance in your brain, it can go like this for ages until it gets back.
Yeah.
So, you know, you
So
imagine
you're going through really...
laid in bed at 20
yeah.
years old, like my room was like bright pink, I think, back then. Why not? But I remember, same as my nails now. But I remember the room just feeling dark all the time. My family were amazing. They were always there downstairs. And as much as I used to sit there and laugh along, just wasn't happy. Just did not know what it was. And then I tell you, so that the night when I realised that this wasn't what was going to work for me, I was actually sat in bed watching Beethoven. Remember the childhood film Beethoven?
Of course I do.
So that film, oh my God, that film is one of those, like, if you've been on a night out and you want a bit of a cry, I don't know if other people do that, but that's...
Yeah, no, I have it on ready to play all moments.
Well, that's one of my films. And you know the bit where the vet puts the tomato sauce on his arm and pretends Beethoven's bit him? Can't handle it. Absolutely throws me off the edge.
It's sad, isn't it?
Well, I'm like, bloody hell, Beethoven can't talk to tell him that the vet's lying, but then no one believes the little girl.
Don't make me cry.
Honestly, this was my childhood horror, watching that bit of Beethoven. But I was sat in bed watching it. I didn't cry. I couldn't cry. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel...
because you'd cried before. That
I knew every time. Even talking about it now makes me well up. That's part of Beethoven. Honestly, man, it gets me every time. And yes, I was absolutely gutted. I thought, why can't I cry? I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
And I actually went downstairs to my mum and I said, I'm not crying. And she went, oh, that's good. So I went, no, it's not. And she was like, what do you mean? So I told her about it. She's mental health nurse in terms of she used to work with brain injury. So very different, again, to mental health. There's all different types. But she basically, you know, she said, you know, call doctors in the morning, see what they say. I actually went and did some bit of research myself and, you know, these online forums and stuff. And I found out that a lot of antidepressants are actually just suppressing your mood completely.
Yeah.
So you can't feel bad because you can't feel at all. And I thought that's a really sad concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you can never feel again.
You can never feel proper emotions, essentially.
Yeah. Because then I tell you what I did that night actually, I researched that much that I actually ordered my first self-help book.
Right. Okay.
The first one I ordered, it was The Secret by Rhonda Byrne.
Are you kidding?
Law of Attraction, love it.
It's great. Have you read all of them?
Yeah. Absolutely love them. And although it's not massively self-help for me, I've always believed in something but never been religious. And when I read that book, I was like, that's it. So I think
I'm not religious either. And I read that, I'm trying to think of how many, a long time ago.
Yeah.
I remember I was doing sales at the time and someone came up to me and I was like pitching them. And they were like, have you ever read The Secret? Just completely out of the blue, and I was like, no. Anyway, like I'm trying to tell you
I'm trying to talk to you.
Come on, like buy something from me. And they said to me, they're like, honestly, you need to read it.
Yeah.
You have to read it. And I was like, I don't read books. But anyway, and she just kept on saying it, and then in the end they went off. I didn't sell them anything. And it must have been maybe a year or two after that I then saw it and thought, do you know what, I'll pick it up and have a read. And as you say, it's not like a self-help, but I find that sort of stuff, it gives you that, I feel like it makes you look for opportunities more, feel a little bit more, you essentially taught to see the positives and things. And
well, that's it. I think that's what it did for me. It
Yeah.
made me realise that there's more to life than depending on like medication, and the manifestation thing was what fascinated me. Because then I went into manifestation.
What you think about, you bring about, all that.
Yeah. And I think, you know, now I'm a massive believer. I don't teach that in my groups because not everyone's going to believe in the law of attraction. But actually, when you look at any kind of self-help, a lot of it is your mindset. And, you know, with the law of attraction, you kind of get out what you put in and you do in life. So for me, that was kind of the first step to being like, all right, I'm going to come off these antidepressants and I'm going to get better. Then I read The Chimp Paradox. Don't know if you've ever read that. Great book, and it talks about the monkey brain, the computer processing brain, and I was like, wow. And at this point, I've gone from bed to sofa to garden. I'm out in garden, and I'm in the sunshine, and it's like, wow.
That's a big difference. And how long was that sort of transition?
That transition was probably in the space of a few weeks with the self-help books.
Jesus.
I'd never read. So these things I'm about to tell you where I got better, I'd never done any of it because I was too cool at school to do anything like that, and you know I was too much of a rebel to do anything like reading. But it turned out I loved it. From the reading actually came journaling, hence the name Diaries.
Yeah, okay.
So journaling, it was something that I'd learned in another self-help book. And obviously I'm not just reading, I'm researching online too. Came across mindfulness and I was like, this is interesting. I'm going to look into this. So with mindfulness, I went on an online course and, you know, I started learning how to be present in the moment, which took me to the book, The Power of Now.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. So started researching that, then went on to doing like a mental health course. Then I went back to barbering after doing that mental health course.
Right.
I learned how to, with mindfulness, I learned that if I did a bit of guided breathing on a morning, again, something that a lot of people don't try because it's not cool.
Yeah.
Actually, it is pretty cool because it makes you feel bloody good.
Yeah,
So
but people don't necessarily want to do it in
Yeah.
front of people, or
That's
their
it.
partner might think that they're a bit
yeah,
weird. Just
but
do it.
that's it. I
Try
did it. I started doing it on a morning, and then I started writing what I was grateful for in this journal.
Yeah.
And then when I was at work, if I was ever in a situation where I felt, not sure about this, I'd breathe, and no one knew what I was doing because you've got to breathe anyway.
Yeah.
So no one knew I was trying to
No one
calm
noticed you
myself
just
down.
breathing. Yeah.
That's it. And then I passed this mental health course, and do you know the charity Movember?
Yeah, yeah.
So I
Of
actually
course, I've tried to say it
contacted.
a few times, but I don't
Me
want to get rid
too.
of the actual beard. Yeah, yours
So
is coming on,
yeah,
though.
it's been alright, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's not November at the minute, but still.
So yeah, I contacted them and I told them I'm a barber. I've done mental health.
Yeah.
Can I do something? What can I do? And they was like, well, actually, we run a course, and it trains you how to, when you're cutting someone's hair in a barber chair, you have like a little sign that says you're a Movember barber,
Yeah.
so you're free to speak to. You can refer them to mental health services. You can talk
Right.
to them, and you can basically get them help, and you can tell the signs if someone's not feeling okay.
I never knew that they did all that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
really
really
good.
it's called a Mo-rated barber.
Right.
I'm not sure if many people know about
Yeah.
it, but that's what I started
And
doing.
is it like websites where you can find a local one near you? Or...
Do you know what? There's not. That's probably a good.
Yeah,
That's
that's maybe what we
something
should
that I'm
do.
going to add on to the Brighter Diaries. We're just in the middle of that. We're doing like a referral service soon, so that's going to be one of the things that are on there.
I guess that would be quite good, because you don't necessarily want to talk about these sorts of things, but if you're in that chair, maybe you book and the barber doesn't necessarily know that that's why you're there.
Yeah.
But you know that you can speak to them if you feel comfortable.
If you
at that
wanted
point.
to, yeah. And the good thing about it is as well, if I was getting that impression from someone that they did want to talk, I always used to write on like my Instagram stories, for example, that, you know, if you do want to chat but you don't want to chat in the middle of a salon, just ask me to come for a coffee after,
Yeah.
or just take me outside or in the back room, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, people did start opening up, and one day I actually got a phone call off a client that was suicidal and ready to jump off Hughes Bridge in York.
Wow.
I was like, holy shit, like,
Yeah.
what do I do? But actually I knew what to do. I didn't even have to think about it. I just
You
calmed him down,
yeah.
spoke to him. 2 days later I met him for a coffee. Turned out, I can't share his personal information, but
course.
turned out he was having a really tough time, and every time he was sat in that chair, he came across absolutely sound. You would not have thought in a million years that all
Yeah.
this stuff he told me was underneath him.
I think that's the thing as well, is a lot of people don't. You
No.
know, it's normally people who are maybe at that stage that they're masking it up better than anyone, and
Yeah.
sort of hiding all of that and not willing to talk about it. It takes a bit of a breaking point to them.
That's it. And you know, I think that's probably one of the most exhausting things I've ever experienced in my life, having to cover up what's really going on.
Yeah.
And learn to just smile every day. It's honestly, it's exhausting. If you're not actually happy and you're coming out all bubbly, the energy it takes from you, it's too much.
Yeah,
And
I think it's hard as well if people have that perception of you anyway, that you're a bubbly person, that you're there, like always a smile, always one cracking
Yeah.
jokes.
But that's
then
it.
you just don't
Everyone,
feel right.
yeah, and it's hard work, you know, because everyone had that perception of me. Everyone.
Yeah.
I guess like that client, he said, I asked him a couple of days later when I had a coffee with him, I said, why did you call me? And he was like, I don't know. He said, I just felt safe to. And I thought that's really nice, because
It's really good.
probably when I was struggling, it's not that I didn't feel safe, I just didn't know, I was uneducated.
Yeah.
So this is where the penny kind of dropped for me, because I thought, you know what, everyone's got a story.
Yeah.
I would have never have known that he was sat there struggling if he'd have not told me. And if I wasn't there, he could have died. And if I didn't read that first book and watch Beethoven,
Yeah.
I might not have been here, or I might
Yeah.
not have been who I
So
am.
all these little steps that you take, and
This
yeah.
was it, and that's where the Brighter Diaries came from. I wanted to help people recreate their story.
That's good. That kind of leads us on to
The
the
next-
next topic. So obviously there was a bit of a transition between you doing your work. So you were at the barber shop and then you started Brighter Diaries
Well,
at the same
it's-
time, or
Kind of. It actually started off as the Barber Diaries.
Nice, I
There's a-
like that, yeah.
So the Barber Diaries was designed to have a barber blog
Yeah.
where I'd get customers' permission to talk
Yeah.
about anything and everything we've spoke about.
Right.
It's a bit like a taxi driver. You hear all kinds of
Yeah,
stories
yeah,
inside
yeah,
the
yeah.
barber shop. We've got all kinds of
Yeah.
stories as barbers. things we see, we hear, we do ourselves. So that worked out really well. I just wanted.
So was that like you would write their experiences as like?
Or mine, on my own.
Yeah.
So it was just an online blog. It was free to use.
Yeah.
And then I also had a mental health blog on there because I didn't want to scare people too much. Sometimes the word mental health is a bit scary. It's a bit overwhelming. So I thought I'm going to do the Brighter Diaries. Anyone who doesn't want to talk about the mental health can read about it instead.
Yeah.
So I kind of had a bit of both. And then something amazing happened on Mental Health Week in. So we've gone into lockdown as well. That was an important part. So the 2020, we went into lockdown. Was that the first lockdown? Am I right there?
March, I think.
It's been that long. So yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's the first lockdown, and that's where the Brighter Diaries was born because people could no longer talk to me.
Yeah.
Instagram messages maybe, but then people, you know, they're locked at home with maybe people they don't want to talk about or who don't want to know that they're talking. So the messages stopped, and I really worried, you know. I thought, I'm feeling good now. I'm in a really good place.
Yeah.
It took years to get to where I am, but I've got my morning routine, my afternoon routine. I'm working on myself every day, and I'm good. But then I thought, what about these lot? They don't know anything. They come for their chat every 2 weeks. Who are they chatting to now?
Yeah, and they don't necessarily know that chat's helping them.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, there was a lot of these adverts coming on TV, like, you know, please talk, and I was thinking they might not be able to.
Yeah.
So I started the Brighter Diaries, and then I put my email address on there, and I said, you know, if you want to talk, and it got loads of interaction. Then the mental health blog started. So the Brighter Diaries was to cheer people up. It was initially to brighten up your day with a funny story from the barber shop. And I think it certainly did that. I used myself a lot. I used a lot of my embarrassing stories from being a barber. Great. Everyone were laughing at me. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And then the mental health blog started. As we came out of the first lockdown, I carried on doing that. Went back to barbering. Few people were talking about it. Barbering had quietened off a bit then because, you know, people had learned to cut their own hair. People had learned.
No one learned how to cut their own hair.
People
properly.
thought they'd learned how to cut their own hair.
Everyone had lines in their hair, thinking it was good.
Oh, it was horrendous. I had some horrendous haircuts.
I had some horrendous haircuts in lockdown. I should have just shaved it all off, but I didn't.
We didn't know how long we were going to be in though, did we? That was the problem.
I thought if I'm out next week, I don't want a skinhead.
I won't worry about it. I had green hair during lockdown because I went into lockdown with this gorgeous mermaid blue hair. And I didn't have the products to carry on making it blue, so it ended up mixing with blonde, and it went like a luminous green. It was horrendous.
Nice. But good job that you're stuck inside.
No one saw me. Yeah, it was great. Everyone on video call. Do you want to do a quiz? I'm like, I'm all right.
No,
I'll sit this one out.
I'll turn my camera off. Thanks. So obviously the diaries were there. People could sort of log on, have a read.
Yeah.
But do you find it was getting quite a bit of traction and people were?
So and you know that's when I think going from a mental health battle or a wellbeing battle, I think for me, I never really knew what my life purpose was. I think deep down, I always knew I wanted to help people. But you know, as much as the Brighter Diaries helped people in lockdown, that first week back at barbering after the lockdown, hated it. I thought, I don't want to be here.
Right.
And I feel like I had a stronger mindset to now know what I do want, rather than existing, as I call it, rather than living. I thought, this isn't my full potential. I'm coming here to make money. Yeah. And that's all. And
that's all you're doing.
I'm not materialistic. I don't care. I'm not about that. So, I went down to 3 days a week, which was a massive decrease in my wage for me. But I didn't care. My partner said he'd support me. Yeah. And I focused on
that's
this blog.
That's good that you had someone behind you as well.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a massive help if you've got your partner backing you up as well, because without that, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it. So he's been amazing throughout the whole journey. Little shout out for him there. But
finally, my recognition is good.
She spoke about me. No, bless him, he is really good.
Yeah.
So we, so at this point we're living in Leeds city centre. Rent's obviously dead expensive.
It's not cheap.
COVID's hit us all anyway. Yeah. But I'm sat at home 3 days a week barbering, 3 days a week I'm doing this blog. Yeah. And then I'm like, right, I want to be a writer. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write about mental health and I'm going to spread awareness. People are going to love it. I'm going to help people get better. And then Mental Health Week came 2021. Yeah. So I'd been doing this barbering blog / mental health, and then Mental Health Week came and I put loads of posts out and said I want 7 people from public to tell me about your mental health experiences. You can either leave it anonymous or put your name, and we're going to share it with the public and break the stigma. We're going to let other people know that we all suffer at some times. Don't even have to be mental. If it's physical, whatever it is that's affecting you, let's talk about it. Let's get everyone talking. So that's what I called it. Let's get everyone talking. Nice. Within 3 days, Yorkshire Evening Post got in touch with me and was like, can we interview you? Like, this is amazing. We've seen how many people have got in touch. we want to know what it is you're doing, how you're doing it, what do you plan next. So we had a photo shoot, we had an interview, went really well. We did that in my old barber shop, just because that's where I was based 3 days a week. And it was amazing. The blog went viral. And then I thought, you know what, this barber blog is only giving me half the market because it's only for men, really. Most people associate barbers with men. So then I thought, I want to make everyone's day brighter. I want to do more. I want it to be for everyone. I want to be inclusive. Obviously, I'm a woman as well. I want to attract other women. Of course I do. So that's where the Brighter Diaries came from. So I honestly just took the plunge. I just handed my notice in one day at barber shop and I said, I don't want to do it. I'm done.
Just took that step. And
I was absolutely crying my eyes out telling him I didn't want to work there. And he's like, are you sure? And I was like, I really don't want to be here, I promise.
I promise I don't.
And then he's like, okay, bye. And I'm like, I don't want to go. And he's like, I don't know what you want. I'm like, neither do I. I was just really scared.
I think sometimes you've got to just take that step though and just see.
It's scary.
If it go right,
well, do you know what? I'm always going to be a barber by trade. I had, at this point, I'd already done, on the side of barbering, I'd done like my MVQ level 2 in mental health. I'd done my life coaching, my mindfulness coaching, mindset training coaching. Done a lot.
So and I've done a backup, so to speak.
Exactly. I did a lot of that online, but then what I did is I actually opened a support group while I was still barbering and I volunteered. So that got me my experience volunteering, helping people whilst doing the assessments online, and it worked. And then I basically we moved around here, city centre, like I said, dead expensive. We got a bit sick at city centre as well. I think when you move to any city, don't you? You're like, let's go to centre.
You love it, and then you learn about the rest of it.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. So
I still sometimes miss the city centre. I'll be honest.
Do you know? Sometimes. It's nice to come back into it, isn't it? And so we went out on Saturday actually, and I said, wouldn't it be great if we still lived over road now?
Just go on. Crawl back into bed.
That's it. But then that's the problem, isn't it? Because you go out too much. We literally ate out all the time. Yeah, you do.
Not ideal.
No.
Fun while it was.
Yeah, great. So we moved around here, started up a support group, rented a room in a church there, and basically advertised myself. Said, I'm the Brighter Diaries. This is what I do. I'm going to help you. My brand is to recreate your story the same way I did mine. And that's how it started. All started from a little support group in round here that eventually grew.
How many people did you get in, like your first time?
About 2 people. I had, bless him, I had an older man sat there. I don't think he really knew what wellbeing was. I think he just wanted to meet some people.
That's nice, though.
Do you know what? He was lovely. Didn't agree with anything I said. No matter what I said. I still chat to him now. He doesn't come to groups now. He knows what they are. He doesn't need it. But he turned up and I'm sat there talking about what is wellbeing and I'm delivering this really good presentation that I think it's really good. And he's sat there going, no, not back in my day.
I'm like, old school point of view with it.
But we still get on. I still chat to him. He's obviously a lonely old guy. He needs a few like friends and conversations. I still do that with him. He prefers to chat by email, believe it or not. So you'd think it'd be fun.
Phone or letter. I'll send you a letter.
Delivered by a dove.
Maybe he's not that old.
So
would you essentially, because one of the questions is like, how do you get your first customers? Is it obviously you can't really call them customers, can you? Because they're not necessarily.
Kind of. It depends. Because with people who come to my group, I call them individuals. Because I believe that everyone's individual, and I don't want to label you as a client or a customer. It depends. Everyone will probably have a preference to what they call the individuals that come to their kind of groups. But for me personally, you're just either a group member or an individual.
I like that.
And it's...
So individuals, how do you get them? So obviously him and that other guy were the... With 2 men, was it?
2, yeah.
Well, they were obviously the first people that you did this with. How did you get them? How did you... was it just like leaflet dropping?
Well, leaflet dropping is quite old school, isn't it, still? But do you know what? I think it works because, don't get me wrong, not everyone does it. And when you go, if you find somewhere, you're lucky enough to find somewhere with a notice board, and I've got, like I say, my slogan's recreate your story, because that's literally what we're doing. When you see that, you're like, whoa, what's that? I'd like to think. And all our leaflets are green, they're really out there, you can't miss them. So I'd like to say that, that's how I started. But then also, I changed the Barber Diaries to the Brighter Diaries, so I obviously already had a lot of content on there. The Barber Diaries also used to have an Instagram and Facebook page that I changed to the Brighter Diaries.
Right, okay.
So
you
I
just
already
changed the name
had,
on it.
Yeah, I already had quite a heavy following of people because of the blog. But I just started releasing videos. So releasing videos of myself doing like guided breathing. And I tell you what, the anxiety I had going through me, releasing, because you got to remember, like, a lot of these barber customers that were coming to me, they never knew any of this were going on in the background.
Yeah.
They just thought I was helping them. They didn't know I'd had 8 months off. No one knew. Like, my friends didn't even fully know what was going
So it
on.
was essentially you saying, this is me as well.
Yeah,
It's-
do you know what? I felt like I'd already recovered when I opened the Brighter Diaries, I did. But releasing them first few videos and me speaking out and telling, that was the first time I was like, bloody hell, yeah, I really do accept who I am and I own it now and I don't care. And
do you feel like it's a bit of a weight lifted off your shoulders when you talk about it? Yeah.
Massively. Like, it doesn't. If you'd have been asking me these questions 5 years ago, I'd have probably cried my eyes out and run out.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't
now you
bother
hold
me
yourself
anymore.
really well.
I don't mind, yeah. I will openly. I'm such an open book. I don't mind talking because it's good. It helps other people when it gives other people hope.
Yeah.
If you know that someone can be going through something that's that dark and that bad and come out of it to help other people, to me, anyone can do anything. You've just got to have the right mindset to do it.
Yeah. You've got, I think, not even necessarily the right people around you as well, but sort of people around you do help. And if you don't have people around you, go to someone like yourself, that's going to really help and change
Yeah,
the way that you feel. And
I hope so.
you need a bit of guidance, don't you?
This is it, because when I'm doing the Brighter Diaries, I think I said to you before we'd even started today that I talk like this, I dress like this all the time. I've either got maybe if it's a Saturday I'll wear a pair of jeans, but I'm usually in a pair of trackies or a pair of leggings.
Yeah.
My Brighter Diaries top. I don't even think I brushed my hair today.
I was going to say,
and
it's
I
good
am
that
who
people
I
listen
am.
to this on audio and they
I
can't
know,
see it.
yeah, they can't see me hair.
It's not that bad, I promise.
It was raining in my defence.
Yeah, no, I'll let you off.
But yeah, I think it's good to just see a real person in front of you. So I think they're doing the Instagram videos and letting people see a real face. Because I had a lot of inquiries, like when I put these events on like Meetup, Eventbrite, Facebook, Instagram, before there was a face to the business or the company, a lot of people have messaged and say like, I'm a bit anxious about coming because it's wellbeing. What are you going to talk about? And are you going to ask me anything? And I said, no, we're doing these groups with a difference. We don't encourage you to come to our groups and speak. We want to speak to you rather than, people don't like to talk about the problems.
No.
So we ask you not to. We actually want to talk to you about problems and solutions of how you can solve them. And then that saves you doing the talking, and hopefully it changes your mindset to find a solution.
We spoke a bit about that before we started as well. And that was something that really surprised me about the groups that you do, because you can somewhat almost imagine these groups as you sit in, like Alcoholics Anonymous, hi, I'm Carl, I'm an alcoholic, that sort of thing. No one really wants to do that. It's not a comfortable thing, especially with mental health. No one necessarily wants to talk about it. The fact that you talk to people is the problem, is this is how you can sort of work around it. It's just such a different change and flipped on its head of the way to approach it. I would feel a lot more comfortable coming in and listening to someone than I would standing in front of a room full of people and explaining what I'm feeling, what I'm going through.
That's it. You see, this is how I'm using my own story to recreate wellbeing and recreate solutions to people's problems, because I've been there. So I know, I've been to all these groups before. I've been to therapists, counsellors, CBT, I've been everywhere. And nothing helped until I helped myself. And I think I said that to you earlier as well, a lot of time you'll go sit in front of a therapist or even one of these AA meetings, which, I'm not slagging them off, they might work for some people, but when you sit there and you say to someone, like, how does that make you feel? And it's like, well, rubbish, mate, that's why I'm here,
Help me.
And that's it. And people expect to go to these groups. I did. I expected to go to a therapist or a group and that someone was going to wave a magic wand and make it all go away.
It'd just be done, and that's
but
it.
It doesn't. And mine, this is why I'm so straight talking when I talk about it, because I'll tell people at my weekly wellbeing groups, my wellbeing at work packages, my events and everything I do, I'll say to them, I'm not your fairy godmother. I'm not going to make everything go away, but here's the tools, the knowledge and the equipment you need to find what's inside you to make you happy. And that's what it's about. It's not about telling me your problems, because sometimes it doesn't help.
No, that's really good, that, because as you say, it's hard to talk about stuff.
Of course it is.
For someone to say, look, this is what we can help you with. Some bits might work for some people, some bits might not, but you're giving them essentially solutions and ways that they can help themselves.
This is it.
It's a lot better than just standing up and talking about it.
I think talking therapy can be great to get things off your chest, but sometimes you're looking to get things off your chest because you're wanting answers. And sometimes talking, you're not always going to get the answer you want, and that can make people actually feel worse. I know it did myself. So if I'm in a room, so the weekly wellbeing sessions, for example, they're running communities, and they're every week at a set time every week, and we talk about a different topic every week.
Yeah.
I always start my sessions with guided breathing.
Okay.
You know, the uncool meditation that not everyone likes. But
just a quick breakdown of guided breathing. If
So-
anyone's wanting to just give it a go, can you explain?
yeah, so guided breathing, it's a mindfulness technique. What you do is it's just pausing for a minute. It's completely pausing, taking a step out of your busy life, your busy mind, not thinking about what's next, what you've got to do. It's just completely stopping. You can use guided meditation music, or you can use like a voice. So I always do my voice at the sessions.
Yeah.
That's when I do calm down a little bit, and I do go quite zen-y and help people relax. But basically what it's doing is, like I say, it's helping you stop, it's helping you pause, and somebody basically takes you through a guided breathing session by telling you to do and feel certain things. So the one I tend to use is actually called a body scan.
Yeah.
So everyone in the room would close their eyes. I like to have a bit of background music because it can be quite distracting not hearing anything.
Yeah.
It's good to focus on a little
You start to hear
something.
everything at that point.
Well,
don't you?
that's it,
A little
yeah.
knock and a little.
Yeah, that's
something's
it.
falling over outside.
And obviously you've got to remember my community groups, I do them in independent businesses, so you've got roads and
Yeah.
you've got kids walking by outside and, it happens.
So a little bit of background music you find.
A little bit of background
Yeah.
music. I do this at home as well myself, background music, and it's basically me talking you through, closing your eyes, you breathe in through your nose and you breathe out through your mouth. The reason you do that is because that instantly lowers your heart rate and your blood pressure, and it helps you focus on your breathing.
Yeah.
So rather than anything that might be going on inside your mind, so this is also great if you're about to have a panic attack or crisis situations.
Yeah.
If you struggle to think before you act, then breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth, and take as long as you want to do it.
So it's more you're consciously thinking
Consciously,
about breathing.
this is it, that's exactly it. It literally, instant results of de-stressing, anti-anxiety. It can be quite hard to do because you've got to focus on your breath, and it's quite a weird feeling we breathe without even knowing, don't we? So to
So
become
then
aware
start
of
doing
your
it.
breathing, but that's why it's mindfulness, because it helps you become more present and more grounded, and then you've got your logical thinking brain to assess what's going on. So I don't know, for example, if you're a bit worried about going to an event, you do your guided breathing before, rather than getting yourself all worked up with what if this and what if that. You do that on a morning just to calm you down. It kind of just slows everything down. Then you can get rid of those bouncing what ifs and think, well, actually, what's the problem? Is it, why is it I don't want to go? And then work that out and just do a little assessment with yourself inside your own mind. But it's hard to do that when you're in crisis.
Of course it is. So the guided breathing, how long would you suggest doing it for?
5 to 20 minutes a day.
And it's just
you could go a full hour if you wanted,
Just literally focusing on your breathing.
It's literally focusing on breathing. At my sessions, I ask people to tense and untense muscles, starting from your toes up.
See, I've done a few things like sleeping at night. Sometimes when you can't sleep and your mind's running at a million miles an hour, I'll put like music on that'll guide you through same sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it'll be like feel your toes,
Yeah,
feel your feet,
yeah.
like and notice that they're there.
That's
Honestly,
it,
before I even get to my shoulders, I'm gone.
You're
I'm
gone.
asleep.
Yeah, do you know, I've had that in sessions. I'll get to I focus a lot on stomach, chest and mind. They're 3 main body parts that really connect you to your feelings and your emotions. I still start from toes upwards, but I can see when I get to chest, you've usually got a few heads nodding like this, and I'm like, everybody stay with me. But, if you go to sleep and that's your relaxing, then fair enough. And the great thing about guided breathing is it's great to do on a night to relax and, drift off to sleep, but it's also good on the morning because it helps improve concentration and focus and awareness, hence why I do it at the start of my sessions. Because it's gonna.
Then you can focus.
If anyone's a bit nervous about what she's about to talk about, what we're gonna think about today, then we'll do the guided breathing. What I usually do at the end of that is whatever topic I'm doing that week, I'll get them to close their eyes at the end of the guided breathing, and I'll say a self-checking question. So again, I ask them quite a personal question, not that personal. It might just be, how am I this week? Or what's the worst thing that's happened to me this week? Think about your past. Think about something coming up in the future. What comes to mind?
Yeah.
But I will purposely say, do not share that with me or the group.
See, that's the beauty of it, I think.
This is it, because it's a self-check-in and it's personal.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
you
have
can
the answer
really
to that.
open and honest
Yeah.
as well.
This
you're
is it.
You're not scared about what people might think about it or say about it, because
This is it.
the only person that's hearing that is you.
That's it. And I do actually give out journals to them as well.
Right.
And I say, if it's quite important what you thought about, or you might forget it, or you just want to memorise it, write it down in your journal. And 9 times out of 10, everyone in that room will pick up the journal and write something. And I've had a lot of feedback on the classes, private feedback, where they'll say, I never actually check in with myself, because we don't, do we?
No,
we walk through every single day, like, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm all right. You? Yeah, I'm all right.
That's the standard British thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
How are you? Yeah, not bad. You? Yeah, not bad. That's it.
That's it. There's no. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want people to walk into work on a morning and be like, "How are you feeling today?" Like,
I feel like shit. I feel horrible.
We equally don't need that, but we never just sit there and think to ourselves, "How am I doing? How am I feeling? Why am I feeling like this?"
See, I guess what you're saying there, it's the importance of like self-reflection and understanding.
100%, and that again, guided breathing will do that for you, because a lot of the time when you slow down your body and your mind and step off autopilot as such, you start asking yourself questions. The whole point in starting with your toes and moving them way up your body is, how does your body feel? Why does it feel like that? And it's good, like you say, self-reflection, especially when you get to the mind. What's actually going on in there.
If I can get to the mind without falling asleep
if you can get there without falling to sleep.
Of course. So these sessions that you do, and so today we're in East 59th in Leeds, which is a gorgeous place.
Beautiful,
so
isn't it?
you do sessions, one of your sessions is going to be here.
Yeah, so there's a difference between the sessions and the events. So the sessions are weekly.
Yeah.
So they're held in independent businesses across communities in Leeds. We've currently got 2.5. I say half because one of them's about to open, but we need to. So we're trying to get in as many communities in Leeds as possible.
Did you say they're weekly? Or
weekly,
yeah. Okay.
So they happen every week. They're simple, accessible and affordable wellbeing for people of Leeds. We're basically trying to create better people, better communities and a better you.
Yeah.
That's what we do with the weekly wellbeing. The event's slightly different. So like East 59, for example, beautiful venue. So East 59, what we're going to do is we're going to hold a big event, and go all out. So we're going to invite
many people in.
Yeah, we're going to invite like up to between 50, maybe a few more people, about 50 people approximately. And a wellbeing event with me it's usually 3 to 4 hours. You're getting the same as what you get at your weekly wellbeing, but it's a bit more. You're joining a bit more. It's a bit more. Because you're doing like a full 3 or 4 hours. So East 59, for example, they're going to put on a beautiful wellness brunch.
Wow.
We've already got the menu, but I'm not going to tell you because you'll have to come to find out.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is like you see the gorgeous rooftop outside, hoping to do the guided breathing out there. There's going to be some cars going by, but you're going to be at the top of Leeds on a rooftop doing guided breathing. What better way to start your morning? Yeah. We're going to come back in here and there's going to be wellbeing activities. People are going to be getting up, getting involved. I actually use wellbeing games at my bigger events. Games. Again, I don't tell anyone this. It's all a big surprise. Yeah. But the most simple games that you don't need to think about much until I tell you to stop and tell you why you've just done it, and it makes you look at life in a whole different perspective just from playing a silly little game. Yeah. Obviously, the fun. It helps build confidence, motivation, team building. Great for wellbeing at work packages, which I also offer. And
so that's like. You'd go to a business and...
Go to a business, So they can either come to us where we go outside, we go out for the day, we'll book a venue out and get them out, depending what they want to do, because we offer 3 different packages for wellbeing at work, ranging from an hour and a half up to 4 hours.
Right.
So if they want to come out the office for the day, we can take them on a wellbeing walk. We can, what I do is I can do it anywhere. That's the beauty of it, because it's me that delivers everything.
That's really good.
I try to do everything myself. I've said... Eventually, I'd love to have some people helping out and expand the Brighter Diaries.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's my story. It's me helping you create your story. And I want to see as many people as I can because, it's a business, but it's also a passion. And I love seeing,
You'll probably find, though, and I think we touched upon it a little bit, hence why my sort of questions may be directed towards this. Obviously, the more you do these, the more people are going to get involved, the more people who come along more. Yeah. You start learning about their stories, they can then work with you and do...
Massively, So that's one thing I really want to do with the Brighter Diaries. I've got a girl who's helping me out at the moment. She's called Rachel. She's amazing. We actually met each other through a different job where we was working in prison.
I thought you said prison then. Prison.
No, prison.
Prison?
Yeah, real prison.
Real
yeah.
prison?
We was working in real prison.
I was thinking...
A nightclub.
I first thought the nightclub, no, not the nightclub. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Right.
we worked in prison. This was in between setting the Brighter Diaries
Yeah.
up, just for more experience,
Wow.
bit of money as well, to be honest, and basically mentoring men in prison, that when they come out of prison, we basically help them improve their well-being, which is hopefully going to stop them from reoffending.
Yeah.
That's the whole point in it.
I think that's huge as well. 'cause
Yeah, massively, yeah. Like we basically help people that have maybe been in prison for years integrate back into the community, because, you know, it might be scary for people when they first go in prison.
I imagine it would be.
But
to
getting
come
out of prison, that's another big change
Yeah.
in itself. It's
You think the changes of things, you know, they haven't seen.
change can be a horrible trigger for.
I mean, if they've been in for 5 years, there's been, 15 new iPhones out? And,
Yeah,
Well, you know,
yeah.
how are they gonna learn how to use
I once
that?
had a guy come out of prison who I said to him, he wanted to set up his own little flat. We got him some housing sorted, and I said, "What are you going to watch on Netflix?" He was like, "What on earth is
What's
Netflix?"
Netflix?
And I was
Oh my
like,
God.
I didn't
He's
even
used
know
to
how to tell
Blockbusters.
him. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah,
So-
I think, the integrating back into society must be really hard for
Yeah,
them, so.
massively. So we did that for a while. Rachel actually still works there. So I basically, obviously, I went over to the Brighter Diaries completely, but we met there, and Rachel will tell you herself, when I met her, she was in a really bad place,
Yeah.
really down in dumps. She'd been going through a few relationship problems, if you like, and I actually met her as a friend, but I didn't realise how much advice I was giving her, and she learnt about the Brighter Diaries. I live and breathe the Brighter Diaries.
Yeah.
I am always talking about it.
You've got to, though, I think. You
yeah,
have to.
yeah, this is it, and I just love it. I
Yeah.
can't help it. Someone will talk about something, I'm like, oh my god, I did that at Brighter Diaries the other night. I just, it's always
It's a
natural.
passion, though, isn't it?
Massively.
It's a passion. I'm finding this a lot with all the people I'm speaking to. Everyone has a true passion for what they do.
Yeah,
And I don't think we'd be sat here now if you didn't have a passion for it. And the
No.
same with all the other people that I sit with, and the more people I'm going to sit with.
100%.
Everyone's got a passion for it, and if you don't, then it's not going to work.
It's a bit pointless.
Yeah.
It's like the barbering. It wasn't my
Yeah.
passion. It was just for
Yeah.
me, it was a dead end job. Could have been a great job, but it wasn't
Yeah.
what I wanted to do.
This is.
But yeah, exactly. So yeah, Rachel, bless her, she basically came to her first Brighter Diaries session. I think it was like January time, so not too long ago, and she was like, "Wow, like these are amazing." And I was like, "I know, I told you."
I'm pretty good at what I do.
Pretty good. And she, one of the things when we was always working together, especially in prisons, it's not the nicest atmosphere.
No.
And she used to always say to me, "How are you always in a good mood?" And I said, "I'm not, but I always have a solution rather than a problem. So I still might wake up and have a shit morning one morning, because we all do. But the first thing I do is I'm like, I'm not having a great day. How can I make it better?
Yeah.
Not you can't always, but if as long as you accept that that's what you're doing rather than fighting against it, you generally turn out to have an all right day.
It goes back to that whole self-reflection thing and
Yeah.
checking in with yourself and realising, I'm not having a good day.
Yeah.
What can I do to...
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
And if you don't do that, then you just end up going out and having a bad day.
Yeah, it's all mindset. If you
Yeah.
think this is it, this is my day now, I'm going to be in a bad mood all day, then you probably are going to be.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to project that onto other people
Yeah.
as well all day.
And then that sends it straight back at you.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
it.
There was something I read once. It said one positive thought in the morning can change the whole day.
Massively.
And I think that to me has always been quite good. Because if you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I haven't done this, I haven't done that, I haven't done this, or like, I've got to do this, and you start thinking about horrible things and the negative things. If you then just change that, I think, actually, I've woken up today and I've got a nice house and what have you.
This is it, yeah. What you're talking about there is actually gratitude.
Yeah.
That is my number one self-help tip with
Yeah.
anyone that comes to a session. I always tell them to wake up grateful.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know what you're grateful for, be grateful that you even woke up this morning.
Yeah.
Be grateful that you can see.
Yeah.
Be grateful you've got a warm bed to sleep in. Like
Yeah.
that's my number one, because that's your positive thought on a morning. And when what you've just said there is like bang on. So when you're talking about, rather than saying, "Oh, I haven't done this," but what have you done? You've probably
Yeah.
already done quite a lot that
Yeah.
you're not even rewarding yourself for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would always say like gratitude and positive thoughts in
Yeah.
the morning.
Think about it. Again,
Massive, yeah.
Checking in.
That's it.
So going back to obviously the events
The events, yeah.
that you do, how did you go about securing this as a venue? Do you just reach out and speak to them? And,
Yeah. So basically, as I've been doing quite a lot of networking recently, actually, with the support group, the weekly wellbeing groups, they was going amazing, starting to get full. But I always want more. I
Yeah.
just, if
More,
I can,
more.
this is it. If I can see it helping one person, then why not go help 10 more? Because I
Yeah.
know it works as well. So I think with me, I'm quite confident because I'm the proof in the pudding. Like everything that I teach people is everything that I've already tried myself.
Yeah.
So I'm confident that this works and this is a good way to make yourself become a better version of yourself. So he's 59, yeah. I just walked in and said, can I speak to your events team? And there was like, yeah, who are you? So I'm like, I'm Kayleigh, this is my t-shirt, I'm from the Brighter Diaries.
Because I'm always wearing the t-shirts.
I'm always wearing the t-shirts. So yeah, I was just like, can I have a chat?
Yeah.
And obviously it's a bar, it's a rooftop bar, it's a bloody beautiful bar. But I said, yeah, I've got my own wellbeing company, this is what I do, this is what I can do. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Can I do some events in here? And she was like, yeah, like, I mean, it sounds great, but I'm going to need to speak to like the bar manager, my manager, the events manager. So I said, all right. I said, well, can I give you a bit of a pitch now to send to them? I said, because, not everyone knows what they're talking about when it comes to wellbeing.
No.
Some people don't even know what wellbeing is. And I said, I don't want to be patronising, but can you kind of pass this message on? So she gave me her email, I put it all in a message, and then 2 days later, yeah, I've got a phone call. Can you come meet the full team, basically, the managers?
Explain it.
Explain what's going on, and then we secured a date. These guys are managing the ticket events on their website, so you just go on East 59th. It's going to be the first Wednesday of every month. I told them exactly what it was I wanted to do. They loved the sound of it. In fact, they're on about doing their wellbeing at work packages with me from now on.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So
But
yeah.
that wouldn't have happened without just doing
just
it.
going for it, because you know what, some people might say no, and that's all right, because not everyone's going to like what you've got to offer. And the way I see it is, I don't like absolutely everything that gets offered to me, so why should I be offended if someone doesn't like mine?
Yeah, I think again that's becoming a bit of a running theme with the people that I'm speaking to is you just got to do it. Just crack on, do it, see what happens. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Just keep on going.
Exactly.
Some people will say no, some people will say yes.
Yeah.
You just got to keep on going. So when's the first one here?
The first one is Wednesday the 4th of May.
And you just get it through their website?
Yeah, you go on their website. If you just go on to what's on, click on next month, so May comes up.
Yeah.
And then, you've got all your information there, so it tells you everything about the event, what's going to be happening. Obviously, there's a few little treats and surprises that aren't shown on there, but there's also a link to my website, a link to the ticket website.
Yeah.
And then, you can, obviously, people can message me via Instagram, but they're just going to get sent to that website anyway, so best just to go straight on there,
Yeah. I saw on your Instagram actually recently that you showed like the recording of going on it and how to go onto the website, where to go. I think that's quite handy.
Yeah, definitely.
Foolproof really.
Well, if I can do it.
Hopefully. So obviously you've got these events coming up, and then your other ones that are sort of your weekly ones. How do people go about booking them?
So Meetup app is absolutely brilliant.
Is that what
Have
it's
you
called,
heard of
Meetup?
it? Yeah.
I haven't, no.
It's really good. You should have a look. It's literally just called Meetup. You basically type in either your area, your postcode, your city, what event, what week you're looking at events, and it comes up with tons of events.
Oh, so it's just numerous events depending on...
Massive. You can also filter it. So you might say wellness events, sports events, football events, and everything comes up. Obviously we're under like health, wellness, all that stuff. Absolutely tons of events on there. You've got like from football groups to reading groups, writing groups. You've got everything on there. We went on Meetup. We actually only went on Meetup about 2 months ago, but since we have, the groups have started getting really busy.
That's good. And so with these meetups, do you want to talk about how much they are and explain what, if people were to book and what the whole process is?
Yeah, of course. So with you mean the weekly wellbeing
weekly
sessions?
ones,
So to be honest, we don't have a booking system, just because I think it's one of those things, isn't it? You might be interested in it, but then you might think, oh, well...
On the day.
Yeah, we only charge £5 or £10 per session. That's all we charge, because it's every week. So I don't, I'm not charging people too much, because it's a weekly, and that adds up monthly, that adds up yearly. I'm not trying to make money out of it. I'm trying to, obviously I need to earn a living, so the £5 to £10, that depends on what's included. So the round day group, that's £5. I always supply, like tonight, I've got one tonight, I'm taking some little Easter cakes. Yeah. I've not made them, I'm going to go buy them after here.
I was going to say I'm going to come.
Okay, yeah. So that includes your full session, your treats, you get a standard journal. Yeah. We've just got Brighter Diaries stickers on them. We are going to be selling life journals soon. Yeah. Any group members will get them half price for attending our groups. But then the £10 ones, for example, so I run one in Morley, that includes your brunch.
Yeah.
She just does like a bit of fruit, a pastry snack and a coffee. So that's where that bit of, the extra £5 comes from that. I only charge £5 for my group members. The individuals that come, the money goes more towards, so I print out activities for them to take home to, I don't like to call it homework, but it's just to work on yourself in between sessions.
Yeah.
So that's basically to cover my time. And all the printing and everything that comes with it. So yeah, £5 a session, and
I think that's great, that.
yeah, and hopefully it'll always stay at that price because, like I say, I want to create better people. I need a living, obviously, I do, but I'm trying to make wellbeing as accessible and simple as possible.
And even if you just help one person, it's well worth it, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Yeah. Or if even if someone comes to one session and finds value in it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And
I think it's really good.
And you will find that when I started the one in Roundhay, I told you that I started it in a church.
Yeah.
Got to December last year, and the church was quite cold. It wasn't the nicest place to sit and do wellbeing, and week by week people were dropping out. And I turned up one night, there was no one there. Turned up the week after, there was no one there. And then I thought, that's it, it's flopped. Like, I didn't have much else going on at this point. Started doubting everything. I thought, that's it, I'm just going to have to go back to a full-time job, can't do it. And that's when I was still working part-time at the prison. So I thought, I'll just go back to full-time, I'll just carry on doing this, it doesn't matter. But then, basically, the Roundhay sessions now are held at hairdressers.
Nice.
Yeah, this is where the idea from independent businesses come from. So these, I'm sure they won't mind me saying, the hairdressers where I run the sessions now, they used to come to the church sessions.
Right.
They got in touch in January and was like, hey, when's the next session on? I was like, I've actually shut it down. Didn't have much people in over December, and I think I'm going to go back to the prison job full time. And they were like, oh no, you shouldn't do that. Like, will you come to the salon for a coffee? So I was like, yeah, okay. So I thought, it's just a catch up, I guess. Turned up for this catch up, and they was like, do it here. The salon's massive. We've got clients that we always speak to you about who come for the hair done.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd love to do it. Everyone who works here wants to sit in it, and you can attract your own people who used to come before. And now we've got this nice little community around here. In fact, we've said if it gets any busier in the next few months, we might have to expand and go somewhere a bit bigger. But at the moment, it works. And
warmer than a church.
Much warmer. It's not too warm. Tell you, hairdressers have got a thing with temperature.
They can't regulate it.
So yeah, it works really nicely. The Morley one is in a cafe, independent cafe in Morley, family run actually, so I quite liked that.
Can you say?
Yeah, so it's Shake, Latte and Roll, that one. Yeah. That one actually starts up on the 26th of April. So that's Tuesday mornings, 9:30 till 10:30. And again, you can go on Meetup, Eventbrite, Facebook or Instagram, or even on our website.
Yeah.
Contact us. All you need to do is let us know your name for either of these groups. We pop your name on, then you just pay by cash or card when you get there.
That's good, because then I guess with some of the people, maybe what they're going through, they think, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and sit in one of these sessions, and then it could come to the day, and then you think, oh, do you know, I'm not quite ready.
Yeah, I've had that a lot.
Perfect,
because
you
haven't paid, so yeah. I do, obviously, I ask people to let me know at least a day before, because sometimes we've got a waiting list, but equally, I've been there, so I know I get it. It's not an issue, do you know,
That's really good.
And then in terms of the wellbeing at work and the events usually, it's always going to be one or two big events a month, which will be on Facebook, Instagram and my website.
Yeah.
Wellbeing at work packages. We do a lot of networking events. We're at a showcasing event with City and Suburbs Networking in 2-3 weeks, I think that one is. So for anyone looking at wellbeing at work packages, we've actually just gone on the City and Suburbs Black Card. So you can actually get a percentage off with us each month if you book a wellbeing at work package.
That's really good. You're busy, aren't you?
We're getting there. We are really I say me at the moment.
What are your plans for the future then with it?
The dream one day is to open up a massive wellbeing hub, accessible to anything wellbeing, anything that makes you feel good in there. I don't want to give too much. So like a bricks and mortar sort of
100%. Storefront essentially.
Yeah. I don't want to give too much away about it. I've got a business plan written up. Whether it happens or not, we'll see. It's a 5-year plan, but if it happens sooner, Well, I think in life it's always good to have something working towards. But at the moment, I absolutely love going into different businesses, different workplaces, and I love being here, there, and everywhere. So at the moment, I'm really happy doing what I'm doing.
It's good. I honestly think it's fantastic. Sort of seeing you on Instagram and stuff, and the way you communicate with people and what you do, I think it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I'm gonna have to come along to one of the
You'll have
sessions
to,
as well.
yeah. You'll be falling asleep at the beginning.
I know. I'll fall asleep and then I'll get my chocolate cake after. And that's
Yeah,
it.
you get a chocolate cake.
Yeah.
So.
It's not the only reason why I'm going, but so we'll wrap it up a little bit here.
Yep.
This question, I'm going to sort of throw it at you.
Okay.
I throw this question to everyone. So, forgive me, I haven't let you prepare it.
Right.
So, if I was to give you £500 on a laptop to set up a business, and it can't be what you do now.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Which is where it's a bit difficult. I'm sort of throwing it at you.
Okay, so £500 and a laptop.
Yeah, you've got a laptop, you've got internet access, all that sort of
Right,
stuff.
okay.
And then you've got £500. Reason why I ask this is I'm hoping a lot of people that listen to the podcast might get inspired by certain ideas, or it's just basically showing that you don't need too much money, you don't need big office addresses and things like that. It's just you can start a business with not so much.
Yeah.
£500 on a laptop, I think that's quite achievable. Most people have a laptop.
Yeah.
Most people can save 500 quid.
Of course,
you know,
yeah.
even if you're not earning much, maybe in a few months you could save 500 quid. So that's why I ask it.
Okay. Thinking off the top of my head, I'm thinking if you've got the laptop and the £500, then some kind of online shop.
Nice.
Because you can easily go and buy, I don't know, some really cheap products somewhere and set up an online shop. I mean, my website, when I first opened it, cost me next to doubt.
Yeah.
It's obviously as I've
Do you use like a Squarespace or
I
Shopify
use Wix.
Or Wix?
Yeah,
Wix.
Wix. Obviously, when I first opened it, it wasn't much. As you progress and you add all your add-ons and stuff, it does get more pricey. But yeah, online seems to have taken off massively after COVID, let's be honest. So, it don't even have to be an online shop. Any kind of business online tends to work, and there's a lot of people doing it. Yeah,
and it's dead easy.
Exactly, that's it. And £500, you'd be surprised how far that'd get you with a business. Remember, I didn't have a full-time job when I went into mine, and I've never had any savings or anything. I've had my partner to be massively supportive. Apart from that, nothing.
See, I think that's a really key point to make as well, is that you've got this far and you did it without having an actual backup. And this is obviously one of the reasons why I set up the podcast to speak to more people about sort of what they've done. Is because a lot of the podcasts that I used to listen to, still do, don't get me wrong, but they're all from Silicon Valley companies that they've been given like millions of pounds investment, and not everyone can do that. Not everyone gets that. So I'd really like to hear the stories and different stories from people of how they've done it. Some people might get a little bit of money from something, or some people might have more in savings. Other people don't have anything, but they still manage to do it.
But I think the people that don't have as much, because I've never got any grants, any loans, I've never had any funding. Maybe one day I might just to progress a bit further, but I've never done that. Everything I've done, God, at that first session I told you about, it was just me stood in a room. There wasn't, now I supply journals, cakes, coffee, herbal tea. There were never any of that. That first session, looking back, was probably terrible. It probably was, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew what I wanted to do and kind of went with it. I'm not going to lie, even I was probably winging it on that first session. As much as qualification-wise, I knew what I was doing. When I look back to the room, I think, bloody hell, it was freezing. They couldn't have been having a nice time in there. And that wasn't even that long ago. And where I am now compared to then, we're talking in the space of a year as well. We're not talking 10 years ago. It's been a really quick turnaround, and it's because I think it's not about having money to begin with, it's about having that passion.
Yeah.
And if you really want to do something with the right mindset, you will do it, regardless of what resources you have.
I think you've just got to crack on and get
massively,
it done.
And it's not, it's my journey. Even, it's not been easy with the Brighter Diaries, I mean, as supportive as my partner is, bless him, he's had me starting off as, I want to be a writer. No, I'll be a barber still. No, I want to be a writer now. Now I'm a blogger now. Also, now I'm a mental health blogger. Now I'm going to go into coaching. Now I'm going to do this.
He's pulling his hair out.
Well, honestly, when I told him about the Brighter Diaries, I remember being out having a meal with him, and he just went, whatever you want to do. And I went, well, are you going to be more supportive? And he's like, of course, I've always got your back, but let's just see first, shall we? So now all this is happening, he's like, wow, well done. Not that he didn't believe in me, but everything I say I'm going to do, I do it. But
I think I'm very much the same. I have countless amounts of business ideas, like daily. I always say, oh, God, I could do this. And I'll speak to people about it. I've sort of learned now not to speak about everything But I come up with it until I'm like 100% sure.
Yeah, that's definitely a key point.
Because I'm always just like, I'm going to do this, and it'll be great. And people are like, come on, not another one, not what you're doing now. But I think, sometimes you just got to, people may get fed up with that, sort of hearing you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Of course, yeah.
But then something's going to work. You
feel
end
like
up
you've got to
finding
try
your
these
passion
things, haven't you? That's it.
Yeah. If you don't try it, you're not going to know if you like it or not.
Well, that's it, yeah, that's definitely it. So, yeah, I think the £500 in a laptop, if anyone's got that sat in the pocket and in front of them, just bloody go for it.
Just go for it and do whatever you can.
And if it doesn't work, there's always, the thing with me is I think there's always a choice. If something doesn't work, you can choose to quit, but if you're going to regret that in 5 years' time, then don't.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Keep going.
And just find a way. Like, I massively say don't get yourself into debt or anything. Try build.
Yeah. Build organically as much as you can.
One of the things the Brighter Diaries massively teaches, because obviously it is about coaching as well, so I always say make daily small changes that are positive, and don't do something good for yourself when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Do small daily changes every day and have less bad days.
Have you heard of Tony Robbins before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been to one of his seminars?
No, I've not been, but I've seen him.
Really good. I'd advise you going along. A lot of one of the things I remember he said, I went to Unleash the Power Within. That's all about them little small changes.
This is it.
Can make a huge difference.
This is it. One example I always use, and it's not to be patronising, but I like to make wellbeing simple. So one great example for anyone wanting to start something new, as a bit of business advice as well, I guess, is if you imagine that you're in a car and you're going down a straight line, if you turn your steering wheel the tiniest bit to one side, you're in a completely different lane. Yeah. And that's what small, tiny changes are daily. They make a massive difference.
Yeah.
So,
I like that.
yeah.
It makes you visually understand it as well.
This is it.
And I think you need to. I'm a very visual person. So
I always use examples like that.
It's good. So where can people find you? What's your Instagram, if you're on LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever?
Everything is under the Brighter. So the website is the Brighter Diaries wellbeinghub.com. Brighter Diaries is Facebook and Instagram, and it's actually Kayleigh Bradshaw on LinkedIn.
Right, okay.
I'm quite late to the party with LinkedIn, I'm not going to lie. So
LinkedIn's changing now. I personally, it used to be really good for connecting with people. Now it's just it's sort of like how many connections you got, and then people just putting stuff that should be on Facebook.
Yeah. I went to a networking event the other night and he said, are you on LinkedIn? So I said, well, I'm on there from years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to change all this, he said. Really good piece of advice, don't get me wrong, I changed it all. I'm having people congratulating me for my new company, and I'm like, no, I've had it a while.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise it all came up.
Yeah,
so, I'm just getting to grips with that again. But so that's Kayleigh Bradshaw, the Brighter Diaries on Facebook and Instagram, and the Brighter Diaries Wellbeing Hub online.
Good. And then, final question. In one sentence, so it's got to be short, just one sentence. If you were to sit here and give advice to anyone thinking about starting a business, what would it be?
Start a business that you believe in.
I like it. Yeah, start a business that you believe in. I like that.
Thank you.
I'm good for the one sentence. Most people always.
Well, I was thinking about that very carefully, because you know what I'm like, I digress. So.
No, it's good. Well, look, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining me for lunch.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you again soon. Cheers.
Perfect, thank you.